It's finally here, launch day.
All right.
Thanks for
Let's do
joining
it.
us. Fabrizio Aiello. The book looks great, guys. Thank you, Fabrizio.
Thank you.
Fabrizio helped me out. I was trying to figure out a QR code thing because even the one that you suggested expired on me.
Did it really?
Yeah, it did.
Oh wow, that sucks.
So I was like, who can I ask? And Fabrizio's first person I thought of.
Yeah.
I got my crown in today, and I still have like
Oh.
cement pieces like still stuck in the back of my gums that come forward every once in a while. I'm like, what is that? But yeah, so here we are today, launch day.
Launch day. Feels good.
Even got my party lights going on in the background. I don't know, you can see
Your
them flashing
disco
back there.
lights.
Yeah, got this guy for like 50% off, like
Oh.
after Halloween last year.
Oh, nice. A little pumpkin.
Yeah, so it's like party lights. I actually, some music.
I keep seeing those on Temu. There's something similar to that. A bunch of like little figures of like astronauts, but they project space and stuff,
Oh
and they'll
yeah,
like move around for like $5 or whatever. I thought about
yeah.
getting one. I might get one of those.
Yeah, it was on sale for like 50% off at Ace Hardware or 75% off, something like that. It was like $3
Yeah,
or something like that. I was like, yeah, I'll
that's not
take
bad.
it. Yeah. But anyways, thank you, Fabrizio. This book was what, 2 years in the making?
Yeah, at least. Actually, one of the stories is in there. It was from 2016, so it's about 8 years.
Yikes.
Yeah.
So the campaign is live. I thought I had set it for 8 o'clock our time,
Hmm.
but they had like 20 different time zones, and I'm pretty sure I chose the wrong one apparently.
All right.
And so it's already live, and I went in and I tested it.
Hmm.
It's working fine because last year we had issues, or last yeah, I think it was last year.
Yeah.
With the second chance campaign, we had some issues with that, but no, it's working fine.
Cool.
Yeah, so super excited.
You want to pull up the campaign? We'll take a look at it.
Yeah. What have you been up to today?
Today I went to Whataburger. That was the highlight of my day.
Mm,
Outside of that, work. Uh, and then I finished setting up my desk, which is what I'm at right now. This is my new setup for streaming and work.
nice. Get that opened up. Okay. So here we are. So
Hey,
who
that's
we
me.
are? Yep. Justin, you're right at the top.
That guy's name is like my name.
And he even looks like you too.
A little bit. He's got less hat.
Yeah, let's talk about the guys. Let's talk about who helped us out this time.
Yeah.
Everything's moving around on me. All right. So first person on the list is Justin Soto.
That's me.
Justin wrote like the bulk of our stories this time around, and did the bulk of the artwork. He definitely
This
did
is a
the heavy
Justin
lifting.
Heavy book. Yeah.
It is. We should just rename it Justin Soto Volume One,
Featuring Hollywood Head Comics.
featuring a little bit of Ben.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll get into the stories here in a little bit. Artist Mario Williams did an awesome job on Cephas the Vampire.
Really cool stuff.
Yeah, let me scroll down here to that stuff. I've known Mario for about 14 years now, 15
It's been a
maybe.
long time. Yeah.
Yeah. We both met at Equinox Comics, which was a local publishing company here in Tulsa, Oklahoma area. And yeah, he was an awesome artist. His style kind of reminds me of like the Top Cow artist from the 90s.
Hmm.
And after we did Volume 1, he hit me up. He was like, hey, if you got something for Volume 2, let me know. So I was like, all right. So I pulled out, I thought of this idea because it's like, it's a little bit horror, but it's also a little bit action kind of stuff, which is what he's really good at drawing.
Hmm.
And so I thought, let me dust off this old Cephas idea and write a quick story. And he knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, it looks like he had a lot of fun drawing it. All of these shots are really dynamic. He's got a really good eye for storytelling direction.
Yeah. Yeah, and that last panel or that last page is awesome. I don't think I have it up on here. Actually, might be might have it at the bottom with the shirts. Yeah, that one.
Shot. Yeah, that was a good shot.
Yeah, I love that shot. But yeah, he's a fantastic artist, and so I feel really fortunate and glad that he wanted to, jump in on the book,
Hmm.
and I didn't have to force him to.
Didn't have to bribe him or blackmail him into it.
Didn't have to fold his pinky backwards until he said, "Yes, I'll do the book." And then we've got who's next on the list? Chris Parfit. Chris Parfit is someone that we're a fan of as a podcaster. Him and his brothers have a really cool paranormal podcast called Belief Hole, where they go into deep lore on stuff, and they have a lot of fun doing it. They crack wise, and they make you laugh, so you're not completely creeped out by it all.
Yeah,
You
they
want to
keep
talk?
it light, even with the darker subject, the darker subject matter they go into.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you want to talk a little bit about them?
Well, yeah, that's basically, I guess what I would say about it is that they're really good at going into, I guess, research. They're like deep dives into certain, creatures or paranormal type of events. So like out of body experiences. You know, they haven't done like a Mothman episode, but they do like a lot of cryptid stuff like Dogman, Sasquatch, that kind of stuff. And yeah, they've got a like an '80s vibe too to their music and their podcast, which drew me in instantly. I was like, oh my god, like all of the music they use on these shows is like getting me to jam out, like in their intros and their outros or their segments.
Yeah,
But no, they're generally like really cool guys to listen to and even chat with on their premiere streams. So really
yeah.
cool stuff.
And John Parfit is the older brother, and he works for Small Town Monsters production company, and he does the sound design for the show and does an excellent job.
Hmm.
It's a really cool podcast to check out if you're
Yeah,
into podcasts. That's called
it's
Belief
very
Hole.
yeah, believe hold. Very rare you come across something that professionally done that sounds like high quality like that.
Yeah, and they backed our campaign last year, I think it was,
Hmm. Yeah.
and so we kind of came on their radar, and we've been a fan of theirs for a long time. So it was really
Hmm.
cool to connect with them. And Chris Parfit wrote some creepy children's tales that probably shouldn't be read to children because they won't go to sleep.
Probably not every child. There might be some kids out there that are cool with it, but
Yeah, and so Chris read one on one of the podcasts. I think it was called the Collectors episode,
mhm.
and it was a really cool poem. So Justin came up with the idea. He's like, "Hey, we should see if he'll write a poem or if we can illustrate some of his poems." So he sent us that one. That I call it the Collectors, but I think it has a different title to it. I need to look that up.
Mm.
And so I'm in the process of beginning the illustrations for that story. Next up, we've got Keith Gleason, who is an excellent letterer. If you
Yep.
need somebody to help you with your story, I mean, lettering is so important.
Yeah. It really is. It's one of those things like, and you had said this whenever you had started lettering yourself. It was like, this is one of those things where, like, if you do it right, no one really pays attention to it because it's meant to guide the story as much as possible, more than stop the story and have you look at it. It's an art of its own. And this guy, he knows his stuff. He lettered a few of our stories. And every time I saw his work, I was like, yeah, that is how it's supposed to
Yeah,
look.
Ben does suck.
Oh my God. You're right.
Yeah, Keith is awesome. He really fun, really easy to work with. He gets what we're going for,
Yeah.
and because a lot of times, I mean, we're still new to lettering, so that's not something that we can always communicate to him and say, "Hey, this is what we want exactly." And but he's really good
Yeah.
at reading the story and coming up with something really cool that works for the
Yeah.
book.
Filling in those gaps of like what the story needs for like what I couldn't really think of putting in the script of like this is what it's supposed to look like. He knows exactly the feel we're going for.
Exactly. And then there's this guy Ben Soto.
Hmm.
What a loser! We were talking about him, how terrible he was at lettering, and
You'll notice Letterer is in his credits, but
No,
that's
it's not.
okay.
Not anymore. Um, man, I did the colors for all the book. Well, except for the watercolor painting ones that you did.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Well, you did the color corrections or the color adjustments on that.
Yeah. Then we've got Preston Acevedo who did the cover. I mean, I had so much going on that I was like, I need some help. I need somebody to come in and draw a really awesome cover. So I tapped Preston for that, and he's known for doing really awesome covers, especially with monsters.
Yeah.
He is a beast at drawing monsters. He really killed it with this cover here.
Yeah. You can tell it's another one where you can tell he has fun drawing these monsters like that werewolf. Looks awesome.
Yeah. I need to take off that sign up page now. Going to do that later. Yeah, so this is the first of the stories. It's called It Goes on All Fours, which, if you know your Navajo legends, you know about the Skinwalker, and that's what they're called. It goes on all fours. That Yi Nadlushi is what they call them, and it means it goes on all fours. And so that's what that first story is about. And the second story is Cephas the Vampire, which I talked a little bit about earlier. That was kind of it's a revenge story, really.
Hmm.
He goes out looking for revenge.
How many pages is that on Cephas?
Cephas is 14 pages.
14 pages, which is a
Yeah,
good length.
yeah. Yeah, now I'll let you talk about San Fondo.
All right. San Fondo, this is an 8-page story. It's about a couple who goes on vacation. They get taken over by a mysterious fog coming out of the desert. And when the fog clears, they find themselves in a strange little town made up of these decaying buildings. One of them goes into a church looking for help, and what they find is a gathering of strange creatures having some kind of service or mass. And the rest is for you to read and gag at a little bit. It's pretty gross. They're gross little creatures, but
Somewhat
I do have fun drawing
Lovecraftian.
them. Yeah, Lovecraftian story. I mean, all of our stories, I guess, are a little bit Lovecraftian, but yeah, this one was the first story I wanted to draw for our Tricks and Treats Halloween Head, and I remember it was like 2016, 2015, or something like that. We were talking about doing Halloween Head comics, and this is the first story that I wanted to do. But some stuff happened. I wasn't able to finish it, so I decided eventually to dust this off and put it in this volume and finish up the story. And really happy with the way it came out. Again, Keith lettered this, and it looks great.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it almost has a Shadow over Innsmouth kind of feel to the story.
Yeah, a little bit heavily inspired by different Lovecraft stories. But yeah, that's kind of the idea. Is you go into a place with all these weird things, something's going on with them, and you find yourself in the middle of
Yeah. All right. So far, I think everybody that's worked on its favorite story
it. So far, yeah.
so far.
Um,
Die
Die
Brook.
Brook. This one was man. This one was a lot of fun to write and to draw, but I did spend a lot of time on it. uh,
Talk about your what influenced this.
the inspirations for it.
Yeah, the inspiration. For the story.
So the first inspiration I had for it was from something called Die Glocker, or Die Glock, which is it's a kind of an urban legend in World War II that the Germans were working on a machine called the Bell. In English, it translates to the Bell. But supposedly an alien spacecraft. It's got this whole long story to it. But if you want to learn more about it in a way that is told way better than I could do it right now, I would check out Bedtime Stories, which is where I first saw the information about it. They did a whole episode on Die Glocker. They also did another episode on another German urban legend for World War II, which was called the Rat House, The rat house is basically these guys go into an underground facility after World War II. They find out that this place is haunted. There's a bunch of creepy stuff going on. Underneath the first level of the basement of this facility, it's flooded with water. So they go in there exploring it, and they end up coming across these people who are tied to chairs underwater, with like animal heads sewn to their heads or something like that, or sewn to their upper torso, replaced their human heads, but they're still alive somehow. And so, as urban legends go, it's one of the creepier ones I've ever heard about World War II. And I thought, man, that would be so cool to put, like what happened there? What if we saw what had happened there? Kind of combine that with the idea of Dyke Locker, and like what if they were working on something else, and like this is all just a byproduct of the occult Nazi magic stuff that was going on in that facility. So I kind of took inspiration from all those things. Took a little bit of inspiration from John Carpenter's The Thing. You'll see why in the story if you read through it. There's some I just love drawing like horror stuff, these monsters, and a little bit of body horror stuff, and a little bit of inspiration from Event Horizon. These things that should not be in this universe, and you mess with the laws of physics and witchcraft and magic, and you end up getting taken to horrors, a place of horrors that are not meant for man. So that's kind of all of the inspiration that went into this story. The idea of it is just these four American soldiers are going into a castle in Germany during World War II. They're sent there to retrieve a spy and destroy the facility. When they get there, some plans have changed. They find out there's actually some secret plans going on that they weren't even aware of. And yeah, so it is a lot of fun. I can't wait for people to read it. I get more and more excited every step we take in it. I was super excited when I drew it. I was more excited when I inked it. I was super excited when Ben colored it. And I can't even tell you how excited I was when I saw it lettered. Just everything about this book is, it feels really good to see it made.
Yeah, there's something about seeing the lettered pages like that just cements it. Like this, it's
Yeah,
done. Like it's a real
it's,
story now.
it's a real comic book, honest to goodness comic
It's my pictures and my words.
book.
All right. So that's Dybrook. How about the curse?
The Curse. This is a short story comparatively. So Die Brook is 21 pages, so almost like a full length
Yeah,
comic. But My Curse is 10 pages.
Die curse.
Die Brook 2, My Curse. Um, so this is a story about it's a werewolf story, but I want to take a slightly different approach to it. I won't give anything away, but Fabrizio, sounds like my kind of wild. Heck yeah, dude. But yeah, so went for a slightly different kind of werewolf story with this one. But I've got uh, these two people. It's a married couple, and there's this thing that starts following this guy around town. So he starts getting freaked out, paranoid. It chases him through town, and he makes it home to make one last stand, protect his wife, and try to get out alive. And so it's called My Curse. Again, I was happy when I drew it. I was really excited when Ben colored it, and seeing it lettered in this EC style. Ben colored it and textured it. You want to talk a little bit about that too, I guess? How you kind of textured it a little bit to look like the EC comics.
Yeah. So, I mean, the goal for each story is to make it feel individual, to take the reader on a different trip for each story. And so for this one, I thought it would be so cool to color this like the old DC comics, kind of give it that zipatone kind of feel to it, the little dot matrix colors in there. And then so that was fun, and that was cool to do, to see it this way. But on top of that, to have Keith come in and do what he did with the lettering, to where they're like offset panels, so you can kind of see it here. There's a little bit of that white kind of bleeding outside of the black
It's like a slight
corners.
like off print or something like that, the way
Right.
it used to happen.
Yeah, and it just adds to the feel of this story, looking like really old school. I'm really happy with the way it came out. Stylistically, it's probably one of my favorites stylistically. just because it
Yeah.
looks so different. It was
Hmm.
like it was just a lot of fun to play with.
No, I agree. It stylistically is probably my favorite to look at. Yeah.
All right, here we are across the sea.
Across the Sea, the big one. This is a 30-page story, which is bananas.
All
So
watercolor.
this one was also from 2015 or something like that. I was right out of college. As soon as I graduated, I promised myself I'm gonna publish something. I want to make a comic book. That's all I've ever really wanted to do. It's all I could see myself doing. Um, so when I graduated, I set myself down every night after work. I painted and painted with watercolors. This story is heavily inspired by Dagon, Call of Cthulhu kind of feel, deep sea mystery creatures, and it's basically about just this deep sea diver. His uncle takes him on an expedition to find some treasure. He goes underwater and he ends up finding some hordes of creatures that are gross and fishy, and so he's got to he's got to fend his way through them. But yeah, the big thing for me was this: like I wanted to paint every single panel individually. So every panel you see in here was its own little unique painting. I used to remember how many paintings there were. I think it was like over 100.
Wow.
Um, but yeah, this was back in 2015. So I published it, I released it, but not being a letterer, also not really being very experienced with comic books. I did the best I could, and I was happy largely with the story. But I always wanted to kind of, if I was going to go back, I'd remaster a lot of stuff in it. And so with this book, we wanted to put out this story, which had not been included in any other Halloween Head volume. So we've got this one. Ben helped me remaster it. He redid some of the colors on there, kind of made everything um, jive, and now we've got a remastered version of Across the Sea.
Yeah, mostly what I did was just go in and kind of reinforce the panel breaks on all
Yeah,
of them. But that's mostly all I did, and I tweaked a few colors here and there, added some textures here and there.
yeah,
But now this was a long a long story, 30 pages.
it sure was.
What was the biggest painting that you did, and what was the smallest? I'm curious.
The biggest painting I did was probably actually if you scroll up. I want to say it was that page right there. So
This one.
that man,
Mm-hmm.
when he's sinking down into the water, that was probably the biggest one. And I say biggest, but it probably wasn't more than maybe 10 or 8 by 4, 8 by 5, something like that. Like
Okay.
it wasn't a huge painting, but it's probably the biggest one I did. The smallest one I did was probably like a 2 by maybe 1.5, something like that. It's going to be one of the smaller panels on here.
Okay.
I know that they would get like real tiny, but I didn't want to make something too big and then get lost in the details. So I tried to keep it
Right.
as true to what it would end up on as on the page.
Interesting.
Yeah, and like this one, I don't remember it being that big, but
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was actually smaller than the other one. The next page.
Yeah. I like the way the water came out on this one
Yeah,
because that looks like milky smooth, and you got like the
mhm,
texture on the shirt looks not rough.
yeah.
Even the clouds look a little different textured. But like that water right there, I'm like, man, how'd you do that?
Very carefully. Yeah. And one of the last classes I took was a watercolor class,
Okay.
and because in painting school you were able to take water base or oil base,
Yeah.
and I was always just like, well, just oil. That's fine. I'll take color. I'll take watercolor later. And so yeah, one of my last semesters I took watercolor, and I was like, oh my god, this is beautiful stuff. Like I didn't know you could do this with watercolor.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I do like that image. That's a really cool image.
yeah.
That's awesome. So, as far as the perks go, or the book goes, here we go. Cover A and cover B. Sorry, cover A and cover B. So we got this Virgin sketch cover. It's just so you can see Preston's work in the raw, unmutilated by my colors. And then you got like the cover A, which is just that's going to be the standard cover with the dressing and my colors. And every book's going to come with this swag here. You're going to get a bookmark. You're going to get sticker, buttons, and a wristband. Then we got some add-ons here. We got shirts with our Halloween Head Comics logo on there. We got this one here, the Tricks and Treats shirt, which is the cover. And then we had like a lot of people loved this Cephas drawing, so
it's a cool drawing, yeah.
So I went ahead and made that image a shirt as well.
Yeah.
Offering that. And then of course we got our Halloween Head comic mugs here with Little Jack, which is coming next year.
Mm-hmm. Currently in development. Yes. Or production, I should say.
It's a production. You're drawing it right now.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's a cool little Jack drawn by Ryan Wynn.
Mm-hmm.
Our friend, our honorary Halloween Head.
That's right.
But yeah, that's what we got for you guys. Is there anything else you want to say, Justin?
I don't think so. I think that's all of it.
We'll go up to the perks, I guess.
Yeah. Check it out. Share it with your friends. Share it with your enemies.
Share it with your frenemies.
Share it with people you don't even know.
Just share it. All right, so we got the digital book for $10. We've got the digital 3-pack. So this is going to have Volume 1, Volume 2, plus here's this story by Johnny Johnson and myself. And it's I'm calling it Little Jack number 0, but it's not really a number 0. It's just kind of a one-off story. And that's like a short 14-pager. And that'll be black and white. I'm probably going to get Keith to letter that as well. And that's $20, so that's over 200 pages right there. And then we've got the physical copy of the book for $30. It's cover A. Cover B, $30 as well. Or you can get both, cover A and B for $55. Then we've got our sketch tiers, where you can buy look at the book and a sketch from Justin for $60. And that's going to be a 6.5 by 10 sketch.
Yeah.
And same thing with me. You can get a sketch from me, 6.5 by 10 as well, with the book. And then we've got our Trick or Treat bag, which is $75. And this comes with a physical copy of the book, the bookmark, the button, the sticker, the wristband. You're going to get the digital 3-pack. You're going to get a sketch from both Justin and myself. You're going to get the Cephas print. You're going to get a Tricks and Treats print. And you're going to get a physical copy of the Ashcan, Little Jack number 0.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the prints. Those are also add-ons here for $5. So that's what we've got.
Cool. Now, is there an earlier cutoff time for the Trick or Treat bag or the sketch tiers for us?
There is. And man, I need to talk to Luke about that because it did not post on here. I might have to make a note and put that in there. I don't know offhand without going in to check. Yeah, I did put an expiration date on there.
Mm-hmm.
And that might have been August actually. I think when the campaign ends.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, it might have been August because we did need some time to draw those sketches.
Mm-hmm. I want to make sure I can get them to you in order for it to make it to the backer.
Okay. The campaign does end, August 31st.
Mm-hmm.
There's a 31st in August this year, right? Yes, there is. Okay. August 31st is when the campaign ends. And so, yeah, we should have the request in by then. I would hope. Jolly Green.
Hey.
What's going on, Jolly?
How's it going, man?
Thanks for coming in, man. I appreciate it. But yeah, that's what we've got for you. Do you guys have any questions for us out there in the chat? Yeah, the Cephas and the it goes on with 4 stories are kind of different for me because last time we were writing stories that were kind of like Twilight Zone esque,
Yeah.
and so just kind of short stories, horror stories. This time around, I'm actually writing characters. I kind of started to develop that skill of writing a character story,
Hmm.
and so these are characters that we could see again if the audience so chooses. If they say, "Hey, I want to see more of that," or "Hey, don't do any more of that," then I'll know.
Hey,
I'll
do me a favor,
know.
cut that out.
Yeah, don't do that anymore. Don't do that ever again.
Wouldn't that be crazy? Like that's the only fan mail you get is like, this is what not to
Yes.
do.
Yeah.
No, I do. I really like this. It goes on all four story. I think your directional skills, like your ability to like block in a scene uh, cinematically, really shows through in this story in particular.
No, thanks.
Mhm.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun doing it. I don't know why, but I always hate coloring my own work. Like I'd rather color you or anybody else, but I always have a hard time coloring my own stuff.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know.
Is there anything like I guess like, about your work that you like? I don't, there's any particular reason that
I just hate that guy.
I'll be honest with you, he just gets on my nerves. He thinks he's so great. He's not that great.
He's always around. Like he just never goes away.
He never shuts up.
Even in my head, he's just always talking. Yap yap yap. You don't hear him out
So,
loud, but
so when you're drawing, do you see it in color already, or do you still see it in steps of like pencils, inks, and then you get to colors when you get to colors?
nah, I see it in color. Like I already
Hmm.
know what I'm gonna do when I throw colors down. Especially if there's an effect, like with like for example the lightning strike here.
Yeah.
Like I already knew. Okay, I'm gonna have lightning coming down in the background, so I'm gonna
Mm.
silhouette most of his body out.
Hmm.
You're just gonna see like a sliver on the inside, and I want there to be like a bright flash. And so I even like an idiot. I even came in and like did like stippling in there, like kind of like a rough, soft edge.
Yeah.
When really I should have just made it all black like I did on this side,
Hmm.
and that way like my glow could pop a little more. But I didn't,
Mm.
like a jerk. So no, yeah, like I do see it ahead of time, but I don't always
Hmm.
think things through like I did, like I should have done there.
Do you think that comes from having like a painting background, or do you think that developed after you started coloring for a while?
Probably when I started coloring.
Hmm.
But yeah, fun stuff. Really enjoyed
Hmm.
coloring Mario
Yeah.
because it really did feel like I was like coloring for Top Cow.
Hmm. Yeah, this story really just pops between his art style and your coloring. It really just it's so vibrant, and yeah, like you said, it really does seem like a Image comic or Top Cow or something like that. A Witchblade book.
But yeah, no, I had a lot of fun coloring. All the stuff like is a challenge trying to make each book look different.
Hmm.
Each story has a little bit of a different vibe to it.
Hmm.
This one was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't sure if you were going to have fun doing this one because I asked for more muted colors. I wanted to feel more like a an old time
Right.
black and white movie for parts of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I colored it like normal for
Hmm.
the most part, and then just went in and reduced the saturation.
Hmm.
It's not like I didn't color it like this. My heart sunk a little bit on some of these pages because I was like, oh, it looks so cool, and then I
Yeah,
got desaturated by like I forgot how much was it, like 40%
something
or
like that. Yeah,
or something like that. Yeah,
it was either 40 or 60. I remember that it was around those two.
yeah, especially when we got to the fire guy because I was like, oh, that's so cool. It looks like the fire looks awesome. Then I was like, yeah, I got to reduce the saturation on it now because it was really popping.
Hmm.
I wonder if I can find that file. I can show it off.
Yeah.
I'll let you talk for a little bit while I search.
Okay. Um, but yeah, this was a lot of fun to draw. So another thing about this one, I wasn't sure how I was going to draw this book. Like half the time, I was thinking about doing it like a regular comic with just different panel breaks. But for Christmas, my sister got me a sketchbook that was 9 by 4 or something like that, or 8 by 4. So it was a rectangular sketchbook. And when I got it, I opened it up and I was like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if I did the book in this sketchbook? And it just felt like a panoramic old time war movie kind of a feel. And I started thinking about the comic strips and newspapers and stuff like that, how they all had that kind of long orientation. And I was like, well, okay, well, let's see if I can make a book look like this. Can I make it work? So I went through the script and I kind of reorganized everything. I shifted some stuff around, and I was like, all right, I think I've got an idea for how this book can look. Um, it might help me in some cases to have my essentially page layout done no matter what. Like it's set in stone. It's all going to be done in 3 panels, and sometimes it's going to be a huge hindrance in storytelling because it's only 3 panels per page. So some of the action scenes are going to be really challenging to get into, but it was ultimately just a lot of fun. And some of it, yeah, it was. I was right. Sometimes it was challenging, and sometimes it really pulled through. But yeah, so that's why the book. That's part of why the book looks the way it does. That kind of deciding factor. My sister got me a sketchbook that was this ratio, and so every page I drew in that sketchbook, I inked it and then scanned it and then sent it off to Ben, and he colored it up.
Yeah, so here's the page. That's the at 100% saturation,
Wow,
and then that's
that's
the
muted.
that's muted. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean,
man.
it still looks cool, but it's just
Yeah. No, I definitely see what you mean. Like that heat and intensity is
yeah,
really right there in the center panel.
yeah. It just really pops.
Hmm.
Yeah, even this top page, like seeing the heat, the warm colors up front.
Hmm.
You can see the water reflections, like really cool. It's like, yeah, let's
It's
kill
there.
it.
You just got to look for it a little bit more. Yeah.
Right? Yeah,
But in conjunction with like the whole story and the center page or the double page spread that we have in the middle of this book to really
yeah.
contrast it, I think it
No,
works really well.
no, yeah. And you were right to make that call to be like, hey, let's make this all muted, and then we'll make that one splash, that
Yeah.
double page spread, really pop
Yeah.
because it makes it feel like it's in another world. And
Hmm.
with the muted colors, you do feel like you're in another time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a great story. I think you guys out there are gonna like it. It's my favorite story, and I didn't even write it.
In spite of the fact I didn't write it, it's pretty good.
Now I gotta say, like, I think, but even in volume one, you did write like one of my favorite stories, which was the one from
The Tree of Life.
the Tree of Life one. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, that was a lot of fun too. I get into these writing moods, and sometimes it pans out.
yeah. Well, cool. It's 8:30. I think we're gonna call it, guys. What do you think?
Cool. Sounds good to me.
Yeah. Hope you guys check out the book, support it. We'd love to have you as a backer, as a fellow Halloween head,
Halloweeny.
Halloweeny, and
Yep.
oh, cool, we got a backer.
Hey, all right.
Sweet.
Like I said, share it out. Share it with your friends. Share it with your family. Share it with people you kind of know. Why not? No, we do appreciate any support you do give us, whether you back it or you share it or you're just word of mouth talking about it to somebody else. We really appreciate all the eyes you guys can get on it. This is our passion, so any support we get really means the world to us. So thank you for all that you've already done in the past. All the guys that have already supported us,
Yeah.
and thank you for even taking a look at it and spending some time with us.
Yeah, definitely. If you can't back it, we totally understand. Just share it, and that'll definitely help us out. And we appreciate that tremendously.
Hmm.
We're just two guys making books, and we make them so that they can be read. So we
That's
want them to
right.
be read. We want them to be seen.
Hmm.
We really enjoy this. Like I said, this was like 2 years in the making. For all the news stories, like Justin said, he had that one story that he made right out of college. But yeah, as soon as we got done with Volume 1, we started working on Volume 2. And it's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun. We enjoy it, and we make them for you guys. We want you to read them.
That's right. If you want to review them, tag us in it. You
Definitely,
can
yeah.
share with us.
Let us know what you thought.
Yeah.
All the ones that I lettered, you can just be like, "This guy sucks at lettering. He's no Keith Gleason."
But yeah. So thanks for sharing this time with us, guys. Thanks for looking at it and chatting with us a little bit. We appreciate it.
Definitely. All right, everybody, have a good night, and we'll catch you next time.
Catch you next.